Did you know that your laundry detergent could be making your child's autism symptoms more severe? Laundry detergent is just one of many cleaners that hold so many different chemicals within them, such as fragrance and such as multiple other cleaning agents that can impact this thing called our endocrine system. Here are just some of the things that can happen when we do have our children exposed to massive amounts of endocrine disruptors. So things like fragrances, they can contribute to severity in autism symptoms through actually multiple different mechanisms. And just a few of the areas that it can impact within the body or systems is the immune system, neurodevelopmental systems, and it can exacerbate behavioral symptoms in our kids with autism. And this is how. So in the case of laundry detergent, among many others, I'm using this one as an example. Breathing in something like this is the same as breathing in VOC. So it's on our skin all the time. And we have been kind of misled in the stronger the fragrance of your laundry detergent, the cleaner you actually are, or the cleaner your laundry. We have like complete little pods and little pearls now that we can add to our laundry to make it even more fragranced. And so breathing this in can impact our respiratory system. It can also act as a neurotoxin as we breathe it in, as everything that as soon as we smell something, it has hit our brain and hit the limbic system. Now, many synthetic fragrances actually contain endocrine disruptors. So they're also known as EDCs, like phthalates. And EDCs can interfere with hormone regulation. And if we're thinking about our children on the spectrum, hormone regulation is extremely important. When we think hormones, we're thinking women. But the truth is that serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, all of these are hormones that need to attach to cell receptors and have massively important functions in your child's brain. Fragrance can also lead to oversensory stimulation. It can actually create anxiety and aggression in children on the spectrum just from breathing it in. Exposure to cleaners in the realm of laundry detergent actually can impair cognitive function, and it can actually lead to massive amounts of oxidative stress. I can't stress this enough because this is a substance, if you really think down to the nitty-gritty of how often we're exposed to it, is actually on our skin 99% of the day. If you break down how often do you actually walk around naked or in fragrance-free laundry or clothes, the only time we have it off our skin is generally when we're in the shower. Our sheets are washed in the same laundry detergent, our clothes, our underwear. And so we are in a constant state of micro exposures to this type of fragrance. And because our skin is semi-permeable, not addressing this can lead to massive degeneration of our kids' mental capacity, cognitive function, and again, create way more oxidative stress that can lead to chronic illnesses. So hi everyone, my name is Natalie Pelto. I am a co-founder of Blue Life RX and a health and wellness company with the initiative of bringing lifestyle medicine to both families with children on the spectrum and to help physicians learn how to implement lifestyle medicine in healthcare for their patients. I specialize in advanced child brain development with nutrition and lifestyle medicine so that we can get specifically our severe nonverbal children on the spectrum to greater gains so that they can live the life of their dreams. My goal is to have children and families who want this for their children to get the independence, communication, and again, bring their gifts to the world. Now, to just share very vulnerably and candidly, the reason that I'm so passionate about autism specifically and ADHD is because my own son at the age of 2 was being pushed for a severe nonverbal diagnosis. My son actually never spoke his first words until he was almost 6, which is pretty staggering. We were told that he likely would never speak, and we were on the wait list for iPad communication therapy for over a year before we were lucky enough to get that phone call, and I was able to hand off my spot to somebody else because my son at that point, due to this wonderful lifestyle intervention that we decided to go on, was able to speak and was completely independent and no longer needed those services. But part of our journey was actually learning about chemicals and the toxicity in our world. There was a 2014 study that was done in the Harvard Journal, so very, very prestige like scientific journal where there was a very big correlation of chemicals. It was done in 2014. So if you literally just like look for that, I can actually probably just tag it below. If you were to look for it though on Google, it would bring you, just put Harvard, study autism and chemical toxicity. And so this was one of the precursors of myself, who was, in my third generation of not knowing any better in healthcare as a healthcare worker frontline, to finally start to question the toxicity of the world around me. Never before had this happened. So if this is your first touch, I get it. It is a little overwhelming at the beginning, but understanding, or even having a basic understanding of what is going on our skin, in our mouth and in our nose, to breathe in, those are the three pathways of toxicity, changed the game for us completely. At first, I focused on a lifestyle intervention of whole foods and trying to replenish my child, who was an extremely picky eater, with nutrients. But there was a missing link, and this missing link came in the form of toxicity, of not understanding or not being aware that there was blockages that were stopping my son from being able to overcome sensory processing disorder with food. He would gag on everything, and never did I make the correlation that the messaging that was going up to his brain at that time was not working effectively. He gagged because he was having a sensory reaction. Any mashed potato texture, any soup texture, and my son has none of those now. And one of the major components to our journey was to start removing chemical toxicity from our home. And in particular, the reason I talk so candidly about laundry detergent is because when we took out laundry detergent, within about 2 weeks, my son was showing dramatic changes in eye contact, in awareness, in ability to self-regulate, to mimic. And for me, this was one of those first, like, oh, this is so, so true. I had this huge aha moment. And so I wanted to share it with you. So I'm going to give you guys some tricks now in the areas that stop families from moving forward in this journey. So one of the areas when I talk to people often is that the lack of knowledge around what a toxin is, what is toxicity, and how do we figure out which of our products we need to swap out. And we almost, it's sad, it's true, we almost need to go back to school to relearn things that were never taught to us, because we have to look back that in the last 100 years, we have added more toxins to our world that are man-made than ever before prior. And so it's not that we're lacking knowledge, it's that there is actually no data on if some of these chemicals that we're creating are actually safe. To put that into perspective, and I hope that this is helpful, about there are over 80,000 new chemicals in the world. And last time that I checked, there was only about 5,000 that had been tested for safety. And every time, for example, when we look at PBAs, every time a chemical would get tested, then they would take it off the market, but they would bring it back in a different chemical form that had not been tested. So plastics got tested bad, so then they would reintroduce a version of it without this one chemical. Doesn't mean that those other chemicals were safe, just means that they weren't tested yet. And so we're in this very reactive state where we're not catching, we've created so much, we're not testing as we're creating. For families, it's not just in the family settings, it's in the lack of education and evidence that we have even now. How do we know? So if the problem is that you don't know where to get started, I can give you some really great resources. So below, I'm going to tell you 3 resources that are going to help you decide what things you want to keep in your home and what things you want to say bye-bye to. And this may surprise you. So there are 3 amazing resources that I like to share. And the first thing that I like to share is giving the information on where toxins come in. Now, you might have heard me just say it quickly, but I will give a little bit more of a description on this. So number 1, it's understanding or knowing that toxins that we breathe in impact our brain immensely. When we breathe something in, one of our detox organs is our brain. The next one that is impacted by this is actually our lungs. There are also detoxification pathways in our lungs. So when we breathe a cleaner in, which now, having worked in a hospital setting and having been exposed to a lot of harsh cleaners, having seen multiple of our housekeepers get cancer, lung cancer specifically, was also a huge eye-opener in the world of toxicity. And now new data has emerged in the last 10 years that some of the cleaners that we're using are literally as harmful as smoking. And yet we have had these and are breathing it in some housekeepers and house cleaners every day for years. And so that pathway is very prime real estate for how we want to support not breathing in chemicals, not breathing in fake fragrances. And so those are some of the areas you want to look at. The first thing is to question the pathways that toxicity comes in. The second pathway is through the skin. For women, to put that into perspective, most women who put makeup on will generally leave the home after applying, without their knowledge, over 500 different chemicals. The average woman puts 200 to 500 different chemicals on her skin by the time she's left the house, whether it be creams, moisturizers, mascara, foundation, powder, lip balm. If you look at just one of those products, they will have multiple different chemicals that you can't even pronounce, and yet we never question it. We have to question that the FDA is doing the research in the background on these products, but that just isn't true. The first time that they ever questioned a product was when a woman went blind from putting mascara on, and there was rat poison in her mascara. And that was the first time the FDA actually stopped and put a stop to putting something in these products. So the things that we put on our skin are actually not as safe as we know, or as we think. The last and most important to me place that we are impacted is what we put in our mouth, the foods that we eat, the things that we drink, the things that we chew, the gum, the food, the Cheetos, the preservatives. If you cannot pronounce a product that you're ingesting, it is having access to your entire body as it's being digested by your body. And chemicals are attempted to be processed through our detoxification organ, known as the liver. And then if the liver can't detoxify it because it's a substance like maybe a herbicide or a pesticide that is so strong, then the body will store it into their fat cells. And so for our kids on the spectrum who have very, very fast moving bodies and fast moving systems as they're creating themselves, this can show up as major deregulation in their behavior. So these are my 3 resources. Now that you know the pathways and how important it is to change, these are my 3 resources that I recommend. So use simple products such as vinegar and water and lemon juice to clean your home. Maybe not lemon juice, but lemon essential oil or things like that. One way to, and so be very aware that before 100 years ago, people used simple products like vinegar and baking soda, and they work just fine. It's only in the last, so many years that we have aisles and aisles full of products to clean our oven, wash the floor, and have different levels of, what's the word I'm looking for? Harmful chemicals that are more intensified, right? The concentration of them is heavier. When before, vinegar and water used to clean the whole thing. So simple products is my first tip. The second tip is learn about the toxins in our environment by joining the Blue Life Autism program. So in the Blue Life Autism program, I am a certified detox specialist. I have done extra education to understand our body systems, toxicity in the world, inside and outside your home. And we have an entire program in there about toxins and how to remove them both from the home and how to safely remove them from your body and your child's body using whole foods and different mechanisms that are very simple and safe. And the third one is to give you 2 resources. My third tip is to give you 2 resources to take from here and move forward. And these are the EWG, which is a completely free website. So you can, it's called the Environmental Working Group. So if you go to Google and you type in EWG, it will bring you to this area where you can have access to it's called the Skin Deep database. Now, the Skin Deep database is a place where you can put the name of a product in, and it will give you a rating of every chemical that is in that product on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being mild, one being very not toxic, pretty much like anything between one and three is in a pretty good range. And anything that goes above 4 and above, we want to be really minimizing. Anything that's like in the 6, 7, 8s, and 9s and 10s, you want to avoid completely. There is an even easier way. Now, back in the day when I started recommending this product, it was free. Unfortunately, now over time, it is not. But it is good to get it even just for a few months as you're swapping things in and out of your home. And it is called the Think Dirty app. It is an app you can get on both Android and iPhone, and you just can walk around your home and you can take a picture and scan a barcode on your products for your skin, and it will give you the rating of 1 to 10. 1 being alkaline and much better for the body, 10 being very acidic or very, very harmful. So these are some of the 3 resources. Now, I cannot tell you how important this portion of it was for our journey with our kids. For my son, it completely changed the game. And for my daughter, it gave her so much of a better start as she was just so young. Learning about how floor cleaner is just as harmful, and little feet that are barefoot walking all over these chemicals and how they absorb them so quickly into the body is enough to have enough inspiration, hopefully, to have you start to question your surroundings and some of the products that we have been told are safe when they have no testing. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe so that you can get access to our videos that come out every single week on different topics on how to support autism in a more holistic and helpful way from a health perspective.